Hey everybody, it's Tom Cassidy here. This is the Team 10K project. We're actually in the first week for a bunch of individuals. Debra is with us. Debra is with us, and it's about 9 o'clock in the morning where she is on PST. Where are you exactly now in the US?
I'm in Seattle, Washington.
Seattle, fantastic. Well, I'm in Washington as well, but my Washington is a tiny little village in West Sussex in England, and there's about, well, there isn't even a shop in this village. There's just a pub. You know, that's like England. You know, you have they prioritize. You've got a village green where they can play cricket, and you've got a school, and you've got a pub before you have a shop. But anyway, so it's early in the morning. Debra's starting on the launching this week, and the objectives for this week are to get the title with the tagline of the title being a search term. Then to start doing things like these Google Hangouts, and then also to have the structure or the outline structure of the 13 by 4. So we were just talking before, and you just wanted to clear something up about the kind of the title. Why don't you start off with that? Because that's very.
And this is for my knowledge and anybody watching this. What is the importance of the first part of the title and then the second part, basically the tagline? So who's searching for what and what's the importance? If you can just explain that real quick, because it does determine what I use.
Yeah, okay. The first thing to realize is that we're taking advantage of the URL feature that Udemy has got, which Google loves. Google loves it if the actual URL is something that people are searching for. Now, before we get too far into this, Udemy actually, they don't let you have an unlimited length of the course title, and that kind of makes sense because it would be difficult to read. So we are limited a little bit by the characters. I don't know how, it might be something like 70. I don't really know. We'll have to look into that. Okay. But what you're looking for is two components, and I'll give you two examples. I did a program which was basically reasonable eating, was part of the reasonability series. Now, reasonable eating is the title of the program, and what that's got is that's got a little bit of stickiness. When people see reasonable eating, they think, oh, it's kind of not like a diet. It's like, okay, I get it. But no one's going to be searching in Google for reasonable eating. So what I did is I had the tagline for the reasonable eating course, the best diet in the world, because people might be searching for the best diet in the world. So if they search for the best diet in the world, at the moment with no optimization whatsoever, I haven't done anything on it at all. I just wanted to see what happened naturally with Udemy. On page 4 of Google is that result for the best diet in the world. You know, no advertising, no promotion, nothing at all. If someone types in the best diet in the world, that shows up on page 4. Okay, now not many people are going to be going to page 4, but the point is that's working for me and will be working for you whether or not you do anything with it. So another example, another course I did, which is I've done as the demonstration course for the Team 10K project, I called it Reasonable Force, again, because Reasonable Force has got a bit of a stickiness to it. It's like people have heard that term, they think, oh yeah, Reasonable Force. But the tagline, or the second part of it, is the secret to making the law of attraction work for you. Because people will be searching for, like, oh, how to make the law of attraction work for you, or how to make the secret work, or law of attraction, you know, how to, you know, whatever. So those are the two components. You want a little bit of stickiness. You wouldn't just want how to make the law of attraction work for you.
Right.
You wouldn't just want the best diet in the world. So does that help in terms of clarifying what to...
It does, definitely, because, you know, being the fact that I am a marketing coach, you know, the title and the taglines are very important to me. Sure. But this is putting a little bit of a twist to it where there's a purpose behind it. So I like it. So let me share with you what I came up with. Lovely. And you can tell me if it's sticky and if what you think about the second part. So, and I have changed this a bit compared to what I first started off with, just having that knowledge. So I really appreciate you clearing that up. Simply Empowered is what I would like to go with the title.
Nice. Simply
Empowered. And for the second part, the tagline, the interesting part about this is if somebody searched for just the first part or the last part, it's very high on the Google search. So that's kind of where I was coming from here.
Good. I agree with that approach. Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So I don't know if it's going to be too long, though. That's the only thing, but we can figure that out later if we have to shorten it. So it's purpose-driven success for women coaching, or for women coaches. Sorry.
I think you're okay with that.
Okay, because the other flip that we could do is purpose-driven coaching for women, but somehow adding that success in there is really driving it up. So
say that again. Read the whole thing to me.
You bet. Simply empowered, purpose-driven success for women coaches was the first one.
Yep.
Simply empowered, purpose-driven coaching for women.
Yeah, I like the success and the for coaches because I mean either of them work, but for me I get more of a ding from the first one.
Yeah.
Purpose-driven success for women coaches.
Right.
You're going women coaches. You're going success for women coaches. You've got women coaches success. You've got you know, purpose and success for women. You've got all these components. Ideally, what you want is you want a sentence which makes sense as a course title, but also you want each one of these combinations are really useful. Not just the individual keywords, but it's the combinations that really work. Because I don't know whether you've seen, but my main search term that I've been going for is the secret to making the law of attraction work for you. But actually, how to make the secret work for you, I'm ranking on the homepage for that as well. You know, so that wasn't. It's just because I chose the word "the secret" because I knew that it had the connotation of similarity with the law of attraction. Mm-hmm. So I think what you've done is quite. Look, at the end of the day, we're building the plane as we fly it. We don't know exactly what the best thing is going to be. We don't know the best, but we'll trust our intuition and just we have to make a decision at some point.
Yeah, and you know, it's really interesting because all the other titles worked and they were great. Yeah. I mean, in my mind, they would work and they were great. But I really did take a look at it from a practical standpoint of, okay, what's popping up in when I put it in Google and what question would I ask? And so then that's why I wanted to have clarification for here, not just for me, but for everybody, because I'm assuming that's going to be a question. And that was the only part that I really was like, okay, where are we going with this? So, yeah, you like it?
Yeah, I think it's great. What I like as well is that you're saying that's the only part, but you know what? That is a big thing because getting something that you feel comfortable at every single level, you have to know that it works for marketing purposes, but also know that you can stand up on a stage anywhere in the world and believe fully in what you're saying. You haven't just kind of scammed people with a kind of a tricky title just to get them sort of, you know, when people show up and they see your face as a result of searching this, you know, it's got to be totally consistent with your message.
Exactly. And guess what? I didn't get this from thinking mode. I got this only after I went to bed thinking about it and woke up this morning. I was like, oh. And I wrote this in the middle of the night. You should see the scribble. It's like,
shut up.
But I was like, oh, I guess that's it. And, you know, I thought I had it the other day, but I was very much in thinking mode, and I'm like, I just need to sleep on this and see what comes up. So, and a couple of the videos yesterday really helped with that. So thank you. Yeah. So no perfect.
Problem. Okay. So you've got the first two components of the 4 things we need to do this week.
Yeah.
The third one, I'm pretty sure you're okay with that as well. Do you want to just run me through the outline structure and how you've broken it down?
Yeah, I would love to. And I did 2 outline structures, and we decided to go with the Success Foundation first, and then if we decide to do another one, we will. We'll go into that, which is a much higher level and will be a lot of fun. So I'm excited to do that. This one will be fun too, because people need this. So the domain for this, I only did 2 domains. So the domain.
You have a diagram. Sorry, Deborah, can you show us your diagram, or do you have a screen share? Can you do a screen share of a document you've done?
I don't have a diagram because I don't have the little graphic.
Okay.
I didn't know where to look for that, but I could do, give me 1 second.
You can send me these outlines and I'll turn them into the graphic and send it back to you. I'll just knock that up.
Yeah, let me
see. You can do that now if you like, if that would be...
Okay. I was going to say I could do a screen share. I'm new to this, you guys.
Oh,
Bear with me.
yeah, no, it's fine. It's on the left-hand side, you'll see a green arrow, a white arrow on a green background, which is screen share.
Okay.
And then
And then,
if you've got the document open already, that will show up as one of the options to choose from in the screen share.
all right. Ah.
Don't worry, this is something that is really good for everyone to see how this all works because, right, there you go, perfect.
Is it there? Is it upside down? What is it?
It's there. No, it's working fine. So all you need to do is you just go through the Word document and we will see it on the screen. You don't have to be on the Google thing now.
Perfect. So is it moving up and down?
Yeah, it is. It all works.
I love
Technology.
it. Okay. Thanks, you guys. I know I'm a little slow with that stuff. I pick up the phone and go from there. So thank you for this. So the first domain is the Success Foundation, and underneath that, what I have as a first module is Be, Do, Have. So basically, yeah, you create your world. And you were in charge of your own world, and I want people working from a place of where they want to be versus from where they are right now, because that's not going to help them move forward. So that's basically what Module 1 is all about, is working from this place, even if it's 2 months down the road. I really don't care. I just want them working from a more empowered place. How does that work? Be, Do, Have, because I really can, right?
Yeah, yes, brilliant.
Yeah. Okay, and then Module 2 is determine your passion, and this is kind of a two-part module, or the message here is 2 parts, and that really is basing your business around what you love to do, your passion, your desire, what you're really good at, because most people really don't know what they're really good at. They're kind of shy about it almost, and sometimes they go into business because they want to make money versus really doing, what drives them, what they're deeply passionate about. And the second part about this is, in Module 2, is creating your business around the lifestyle that you ultimately desire to live. So start doing that now versus later on. Like, I used to be a workaholic, so I used to sleep 3 hours a night, Monday through Sunday, and I wanted to work Monday through Thursday. And I gradually started to get into that mode by doing a little bit at a time. So that's that's a 2-part on that. That works for you?
Yeah, it's good. It's great.
Yep. Okay, cool. I'm just going to keep moving along unless you tell me not to.
No,
Module 3 is the transformation you offer. And really, what is it that you do so that your client can ultimately whatever, what is it, what is that transformation ultimately that your client is going for? And the big challenge here is a lot of people say, well, I do so many things. Tom, you do so many different things, so many different transformations, but really, what do you want to be known for? And ultimately, at the end of the day, what are they going to walk away with from, doing that class or having coaching with you or whatever?
Brilliant.
Whatever it might be.
It's good.
And number 4 is evoke trust and curiosity through your personal empowered story.
Yeah,
and I think this is really powerful. A lot of people start off with this, and I'm like, I don't know. Let's start off with your passion and where you ultimately want to be and how you ultimately want to work. And then, you know what, your story is going to pop out for you, because it doesn't have to be raid to riches. It just has to be connecting to your client, to that person that you really want to attract into your life, so they're ready to step up and be with you and to follow you. Because everybody has somebody, right? Everybody has somebody that they're like, wow, I really like what he or she is saying, and I want to be part of that. And a lot of times, getting real and authentic with your story is going to help them do that. And I think you shared that in one of your videos last night, maybe, where you were saying, hey, look, people want to, or you said it this morning, sorry, people want to know that you know, you haven't always been successful. Where'd you start? Where are you at? And,
Yeah.
you know that you still make mistakes. Know that you're not perfect and that they can do this too. So
Yeah,
I love that part.
that's so good, because I think the classic problem with a lot of coaches is that they want to think they think they've got to come across as having it all figured out, and I think it's just, you know, that deep down all that happens is that you lose the connection with people if you're trying to get across to them that you've got it all figured out, because they certainly don't, and I'm sure they'd much rather, it certainly seems to work much better for me when people know that I'm working on things and I'm developing and I'm learning and I'm trying to get better, and it's kind of like we're then on the journey together, aren't we? Rather than hey, I've nailed it, you know, I've got everything I want. I mean, okay, I have a great average and all that stuff, and there's lots of things I have that I'm able to just access, mostly through the mindset and the awareness, but still we're together figuring it out. We're all maybe at different parts of the journey, but we're on this kind of continuous journey, and I think that's such an important one, Deborah, to get across to your people, that it's that connection is way more, well, you need to connect to people, and the best way to connect to people is through the similar challenges that they're going through as well, and I think that'll work really well. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. Good. And then number 5, module 5 is your perfect avatar, your perfect client, and closing the gap for them. Like, you know, where are they right now? Where do they want to be? What pain do they have right now, or struggles, or desires even in their life, and where do they ultimately want to end up, and help them close the gap by painting the possibilities for them. So module 5 is a combination. Normally I would have that split up, but there's no reason for this particular training that we couldn't combine them together. So who is your perfect avatar? What challenges do they have? Where do they desire to be, and how are you going to close the gap for them? How are you going to paint the possibilities so they can step into that and ultimately get to where they want to be?
Yeah, brilliant stuff. Lovely. I mean, it's all about using the pictures and getting that, painting the possibilities. Love it. Yes, nice.
Yeah, you like it? Okay, cool.
Yeah, good.
And then number 6, I believe, is the secret sauce to almost everybody's success, and that's your personal why. And this is your much deeper reason for having your business over and beyond using it for a vehicle just to make money. And this goes into, like, what you would say, creating more life to all.
Yeah.
This is the one thing that is going to get people through any challenge, any bump in the road, because it's going to happen. You're an entrepreneur. Come on.
Yeah.
You know, so this is that thing that is going to drive you. I don't care if it's, getting your kids to college, or if it's a huge philanthropy project that you want to give back in a big way, if it's just living the lifestyle that you finally desire because you never lived it. And I always say, I got this from, I stole it, but it has always stuck in my mind for, the past 7 years. But the reason why should make you cry, and really it should evoke some type of big
deep emotional response. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I think I call it learning rather than stealing. You learned it from
a little bit more positive. I like it. Yeah. It's one of those phrases that just sticks with you, and it's like, I love it. So I borrowed.
And that's the success foundation. That's the 6 things in half of the wheel, isn't it? That's one domain.
Yeah, that's the success foundation. And if I may share just real quickly, in the beginning, I thought, and maybe you can explain this, Tom, I thought that you had to have like 4 segments to this, and then I found something of yours that you had written out, and I was like, oh, no, we don't have to do it that way. This is so cool. And maybe you can explain that to people so they can connect with that too, because that was another maybe stalling point for me. Not a stalling point, but I did have to try to figure out, okay, so how does my signature system fit into this 13 by 4 module, and how do I break it up? And I wasn't able to break it up into 4 sections. I was trying to, but it was like fitting a, you know.
That's a great question. I'll take that one quickly.
Sure.
But basically, I think it's because the 4 in the 13 by 4 refers to the fact that you do it 4 times in every year. But because it also looks like, oh, there's 13 things, and it's kind of split into the early ones that I did, I think mostly were split into 4. People think, oh, I've got to divide it. That's the 4. Okay. Now, it's essentially you've got a central focus, and that there's 13, so that 1 taken away leaves 12. You can divide those 12 up any way you like. You don't even have to have domains. You could make it 12 sort of unrelated things. And there's one of the guys in the team, actually it's a lady, Andrea, she's kind of not necessarily having domains as such, because she's having a sequential thing that you go through, all kind of very practical, logical things that you kind of need to be doing all the time, but you just get better by focusing on them sequentially, that you don't have to do certain things first and so on. And I think that she won't necessarily have domains. The reasonable wealth one has got basically 2 domains like this one, which is kind of essentially how to think and then how to act. But you could, I've got other programs which are 3 domains, where you've got 4 algorithms in each domain. And 12 is a beautiful number, because you can have, you know, you could have 6 domains of 2 things. You have 4 domains of 3, 3 of 4, you know, 2 of 6. So that's a good point to bring up there, that maybe I need to address with more clarity, explaining to people. When I show them, I should probably give them an example of 5 or 6 different wheels, so they realize immediately, rather than telling them stuff, just show them all these different examples, and then they'll work it out themselves.
Yeah, I like it. And I have to say, I really like the idea of having a domain, so the people that are connecting with it can go, okay, well, I know 1 through 6 is really setting up my, in this, you know, example, my success foundation. And I know 1 or 7 through 12 is really going to start creating the wealth. It's the wealth creation.
Accelerate.
And I do like that. I do like being able to set this to domains, whether it's 4 or 2 or whatever. I do like that a lot. So, cool. I like it.
I prefer domains more than anything. It helps me when I'm composing it, because all I do, if I want to come up with a new program, first of all, I just need one thing, the overall objective. And then I think, okay, well, what would that have? What components would it have? It would probably have, there's probably about 3 different major components of this one. Right, so it's 3 domains. And then I need, within each domain, I just need 4 subsets. So for me, in an hour, I can write a program from scratch, basically, if I do it like that. And so domains, I find them very useful. But sometimes, if you're trying to force something in to an existing structure, it's kind of not gelling. And that's where you were, you know, in the last couple of weeks, you think, I don't know how it's going to work with 4 domains. And then, guess what? Guess what? Do it with 2. And it,
I just spent a half an hour on that, not 2 weeks, but
that's all right.
It's all good. It's all good. So okay, so cool. And then so domain number 2 is really stepping into your wealth creation. Do you like the Success Foundation? Does that gel with you, Tom?
Yes, perfect. I mean, listen, ultimately it has to be, whether I like it or not is helpful, but it's not necessarily the most relevant thing. Yes, I do, but it's...
I'd like you on board.
No, I do. I think it's great, but the most important thing is that it's going to be useful if you've already used it. You're the one with the solution. You've got the wisdom. You know, we talk about what is the hardest problem that you feel qualified to solve for people. Well, you've got to have the wisdom of the solution and the willingness to do something about it, and then you've got to have an ability to implement it. So effectively, this is your wisdom turned into a system for implementation. That's all. So all of these things make total sense, and I can see that. If you imagine, just looking at those first 6, just pull it down a little bit so we can just have a quick look at those first 6. You imagine if someone just got a little bit better, on each of these 6 things, they got a little bit of a clear idea of the world that they wanted to create and what their passion was, and worked out exactly what their transformation was just a little bit better. That compounding effect of just being better on all those 6 things would set up an unbelievable foundation. So yeah, I think it's a really good platform, and I think that I'm looking at this and thinking, yeah, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Yeah.
Well,
So
here's an interesting part. The other thing that came up, and I want to share this stuff with you because this came up for me, and so I know it's going to come up for somebody else. I was looking. This is the baby steps into creating a 6-figure system as being a coach, author, healer, whatever. And if you're teaching something to somebody else, this is the basic steps to get there. And so in my mind, I was thinking, well, you've already done them. Why would you redo them? Why would you cycle through them again on this? Not other programs, not the programs Tom was teaching. I'm talking in accordance to me coming up with my program. I'm like, well, the answer to that question, as soon as I got it, this just flowed. Within 45 minutes, I actually had 2 models, written out. And the reason why it flowed was because you're always evolving. You're always evolving. What you want to be, do, and have in life is going to evolve. And your passions are going to get deeper, and they're going to get more authentic to you, and you're going to step into yourself a bit more. So as you do that, and as this comes back up in your cycle, you're going to go deeper in that. And the transformations that you offer as you learn, you're going to step up. And even your personal empowered story, right, Tom? I mean, I've heard stories from way back when with you, and now you got some really cool, fun stories that are more, I would say, relevant to today for you.
Yeah.
And I love that. I love that. And even your perfect client may change a bit. And always consistently closing that gap for them from where they are now to where they want to be. And even your personal why, that I don't see that changing very much, but it does deepen as people grow.
And so, you need to be reminded of these things, don't you? And that's the beautiful thing of what you've done here is that if you do have a personal why, then how often are you really giving yourself permission to just think about that as the main focus for the week,
versus going out and getting a client or making some money today. And I know I can share that because I've been there.
That's
and
why
I go there sometimes now, and I'm like, oh, oops.
And that's why it works. What you've done works because you've actually applied it to your own life, and you've applied it to your own clients, and all you're trying to do is just systematize it and reach more people. Ultimately, that's kind of, I see it as really simple. You're trying to reach people and then teach people, and then with the app, you're going to try and reach them again. So you'll reach them first of all, you'll teach them what your stuff is, and then you'll reach right into their pockets to be with them kind of whenever they need to help them through the process.
Simply empowered, yes.
Simply empowered, brilliant. And what's clever about the Simply, obviously, that's the thing you love, the Simply Wealthy and all that sort of stuff. That's kind of that's really reinforcing your branding, isn't it? The Simply kind of thing.
Yeah. Simply Wealthy by Debra. Is my title, and my tagline for my business is passion, purpose, and profit. So I struggled a bit with that because I was like, is that what this course needs to be? And I'm like, no, it needs to be a little different. We need to get, because the other thing that intrigued me here with what you did with the law of attraction keyword search is that I just encountered, it's amazing what you bring into your life, right? I just encountered this a week or two ago, somebody going after a very similar word search, and they changed it completely because they decided it was too competitive. And I said, but is it? And the only reason I knew that was because of what you have done. So you kind of proven the other side that, you know what, you can hop into the keywords that are, just saturated out there and come up #1 on that. And that to me is very impressive. And you've done it in a simple way. and that makes it even better for me. So
Yeah, I mean, I find that there's lots of things that give me energy gain and lots of things that give me energy drain. And you know what? Doing a hangout and talking about something like this is fantastic. That's a real gain for me. Getting into like the nitty gritty of meta tags and titles and keywords and optimization and all that sort of stuff, that's a real drain for me. Even though I'm quite a geeky person, that, you know, if I spend an hour doing that, and I've done it in the past, and it's just like, oh, my body language is awful, I'll probably be a bit...
I can't do it. Yeah, no.
so let's come up with a better system where instead of doing that, just do something which is much more fun and gives more value to the... Let's be honest, spending an hour optimizing your videos or optimizing your websites for the Google's algorithms, search algorithms, isn't really bringing any more real value to people.
No.
Whereas if you spend that hour recording 3 or 4 short little videos with some great tips about how people can attract clients or build their list or, you know, be consistent or whatever it is, then you are actually adding more value. So the net contribution of that hour is greater life for all. Now, as a result of you going out there, you're going to reach more people. Plus, you'll have content because you'll be teaching people. So people go, oh, whoa, this is not just kind of some spammy thing, get me to sign up for this. No, this is someone just doing some really beautiful little nuggets. You're building up that rapport with people, you're building up that relationship with people, and guess what? We're also ranking really high for all these things. So if you want to impress a client, let's say you, how cool is this, right? You go and meet a client, you're having a cup of coffee, and they say, what do you do? Oh, well, I'm kind of the best woman coach in the world, or something like that, right? And they go, what? What do you mean? You say, yeah, just Google it.
Just Google it.
And that would be you. Yeah, just Google best women or best wealth creating women coach, whatever one of the terms that you could go on.
Coach, yeah, definitely.
I'm the best women's wealth coach in the world, and they'll go, well, what do you mean? So just Google it. And it's like, it's almost like I call it the Wikipedia effect. If something's on Wikipedia, we kind of think it's true. And if something's on Google, if Google is returning, you know, a result for, you know, I've got 8 of the top 10 videos for the best life coach in the world. We did these 8 videos in like a 5-day period in April. Haven't done anything since 26th of April. And there's still 8 of the top 10 videos. Okay, the best life coach in the world. It's just videos. It's not full web because, you know, we only did it for 6 days. But you know what? It's quite interesting that if you do things, if you go for relatively targeted, you can be sorted in a week. If you're going for something super competitive, look, it might take a little bit longer, but it's really worth it. If you can say, you know, it would be cool if you, whenever you meet somebody, they can just Google you and find that you're the #1 for something, a snappy little short phrase. That would be brilliant.
Yeah. I love it. And just going back to what you were saying, I mean, there's a big difference between energy draining and energy gaining. And all the keyword stuff, trust me, I studied it inside and out. And even social media for the most part, even though I'm a marketing coach, there's certain bits of that really drain my energy. And I'm like, how is this helping somebody?
Correct.
How is this really assisting them? And I started to change my business around based on that. What great information, what great content can I give them of value? And if they're ready for it, they're going to pick up and they're going to use it. If they're not ready for it, it's right here and they can use it later on. It's all good. So, yeah, perfect. I love it.
And it works because you're in line with kind of, on the esoteric level, you're kind of in line with nature's principles, which is nature will go out of its way to support people who are bringing more life to all and bringing more value to other people. One of the reasons I think Google has obviously done so well, because it gave a tremendous user experience in search. When search was like in the late 90s, when they first came out, search was pretty rubbish, wasn't it? And Google was super fast, and then it gave Gmail to everybody, you know, like free email accounts that really worked and all that sort of stuff. So you think, you know what, it's attracting through aligning with kind of greater principles. It's not setting out to make money, and they genuinely didn't know how they were going to make money for the first few years. They set out to organize the world's information, set out to make sense. Now, this isn't about loving Google or not. It's just about, if you set out to make sense and to give value to people and to say, look, I've got a hard problem for a lot of people that I can solve through things that I've already done, which is getting women to feel better about themselves, getting women to connect better, getting them to believe in themselves, to believe that it's possible, to raise their awareness, and also getting them to take action on the nitty-gritty stuff in a way that, you know, you can hold their hands a little bit. But,
yeah, and it's fun. It's not nitty-gritty so much. It's, you know, there's a purpose behind it that will drive them versus just going, oh, is this something that I should do or that I have to do?
yeah, absolutely. Listen, let's crack on with wealth creation.
Yeah, let's do it.
Second domain, because this looks interesting.
Domain number 2. So I have these 1 through 6, but I think most of you know it's 7 through 12. Yeah. So it would be 7 would be creating your Simply Wealthy signature system. Now, my question here, well, let me tell you what this is, and then I'll give you my question. Is creating your Simply Wealthy signature system is something that I use, whether it's for creating a product, a book, your stage presence, your speaking event. It doesn't matter what it is. It's a very simple system that you take certain steps to get the transformation that you want to offer. Bottom line, that's what it is. My question to you is, do you want me to, or is it necessary to relate this to the 13x4 system? Because if it is, this would be the place that we would do it. Or is it necessary or is it not necessary? Either way is good for me.
Nothing is necessary. It's what is going to be ultimately what is most helpful to people. Now, I would have thought that the Simply Wealthy signature system might also be, you know, if people wanted a deeper dive, that might be, if they really wanted to get really good at that, that might be another program that you would want people to really get into the nitty-gritty. Almost like if they wanted to get into real details of all of those, any of these things, then they could dig deep into them. But the effectiveness of what are you going to get people to focus on that week? Is it going to be that in that week, when it goes through the cycle, they are going to be just making sure they're reviewing how effective their Simply Wealthy signature system is after having first of all set it up? Or is it that you do it over a period of time? I mean, you tell me exactly how it works, and then I'll sort of explain.
Yeah, you bet. It is, depending on what you're working on. See, yeah, okay, you bring up a very valuable point here. What your signature system, and we can change the Simply Wealthy and just make it signature system, is basically, okay, so if you're going to create a product, what are the steps that you're going to take to ultimately create that transformation?
Right.
Or if you're coaching modules, or maybe you're doing a teleseminar,
yeah,
or a speaking event,
yeah,
it could be 4 steps, it could be 12 steps. I highly recommend for that particular system that we don't go over that. It's almost too much. Actually, 7 to 8 is about perfect.
Yeah, yeah. Great. Okay. So, so you've got, and that's customizable, but what you will do will presumably in that week, you will give examples of, let's say you were creating a teleseminar, these are the 4 steps you need to do. Let's say you were creating, so in your course, because then the coaches will actually learn to apply it for their own people in a tailored way, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I love that, and I'll give them some different examples. So when that week comes up, if there's something, you know, a call or a speaking event or whatever that they do, they can go back to this.
Yes.
I like it. Okay, I like it.
That makes sense?
Completely. Completely. And then 7 would be client attraction. And I take a different stance on this a little bit, and I know you do too, Tom, so a little combination of the 2 of us I think will be a lot of fun. I believe in giving high-value content, content that's actually worth a lot to the person who is interested in it.
Yeah.
And it could be done in a kit, meaning you got an audio plus a workbook that you're giving away to attract them to get into your world.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I put Udemy, I didn't realize I was sharing this with everybody, but I put Udemy with question marks because it's the free course is basically doing something very similar as I would do with the kit on my website. So I don't know if you want to speak about that a little bit during that section for the client attraction, because it would be nice to have both sides.
Well, yeah, I think I think what would be good is, look, here's a bunch of different, for this week's focus,
Right.
the focus is client attraction. There's a bunch of different ways, and we'll talk about the various ways and what the value would be of each of them. But certainly the reason I use Udemy perhaps might be a little different from a lot of people. I'm teaching general stuff rather than specific stuff, so I'm using Udemy for reach more than anything, and
Which I love that.
yeah, also for SEO, because I wanted to be #1 in Google for mind mastery, and I've been #1 in Google for about the last year and a half. It took about 6 months before, because, and you'll notice that I kind of went through a phase of calling all my courses something mind mastery, whether it's career mind mastery, relationship mind mastery, or everyday mind mastery for normal stuff, and then advanced mind mastery. So I get that. That's really exciting to me, that I use it for reach, and then I can say, well, okay, what do I want to do next? Now that I've got these people who are kind of interested in stuff that I'm doing, or I've got their attention, they're at least listening to me, then I can use that that's kind of the top end of the funnel. But the other side of the funnel is everything that you do outside. Those people I do, I've talked about this before, and it's a little different, but I do zero promotion for that within Udemy. Nothing. But what I'm teaching with Team 10K is that we are going to do a lot of promotion, but it's going to be external. And it doesn't make sense to drive people to the same place, to be in the same funnel. We want to, if we're using a lot of great stuff with YouTube videos, Hangouts, and then as a result of being high in web search or in YouTube search or through our Google Plus, those sorts of things, then we should send those people to our own website and track them, or to whatever new thing that you're setting up. For example, people who already don't have a website, they just get a Gumroad account and just get set up there, and they can get it up and running. But you've already got existing ways to once you've attracted people's attention, they can go through your normal system. And I think that's a really obvious thing to say, but you've got to be clear about this. Just because I haven't done any promotion so far doesn't mean that it's not the right thing to do for other people from right now, because I didn't want to spend a lot of, like you, I played around with social media and Facebook and got really good at a few things like Facebook advertising, got really into that. I actually spent quite a lot of money 2 or 3 years ago on a few different campaigns, and they all worked a bit. But what I found is that, a bit like you just said earlier on, I was investing so much time in doing the things that were draining my energy, that were just all about optimizing, and they were all about, is a competitive playing kind of thing, and it didn't gel with me, and it wasn't enjoyable to actually do. I didn't really feel that it was bringing great value to other people either, and I didn't think it was a good return on investment. I don't mind if I'm doing something which I don't really enjoy. If it's a tremendous return on investment, I will do that until I can find something that I do enjoy that's a tremendous return on investment. But my experience with the kind of the Twitter and the Facebook and all this sort of stuff, and I don't know, it was just like, really, for the amount of time I'm putting in, I could be just writing books or coming up with programs or doing one-to-one coaching.
Yeah, I completely agree. I mean, and I think that's where I just changed this around a little bit. Client attraction / list building, and I'll come up with better wording for that. But doing it in a way that's simple and powerful and empowering to you, so it's not taken away from your uniqueness, your unique brilliance that you're trying to get out there into the world. Because that's what I see what happens, is that we have these brilliant coaches and teachers and guides and authors and speakers, and then they get hung up on the list building because everybody, speakers don't want to talk to you. This is the script. Speakers don't want to talk to you if you don't have a certain size list, and oh my God, I can't fill my groups unless I have a big list, and how do I go about doing that? Oh, I better dump a bunch of money into Facebook ads, and then I have clients that are just getting started. They're like, I don't have that type of money, and so I think that 7 would
8.
be
8, is it?
or 8. Sorry, yeah, I gotta change the numbers on this. the 8 would be the client attraction list building made simply, or
Made
something
simple.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and give them ideas that, you know what, here's a few ideas that you can repeat week after, or each time you come to this area, and you can do it that week and see what happens for you, and just keep doing it and keep doing it versus all the shiny objects out there.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
I think that's nice. It's like simply attractive or something like that. That's how you I like your simply sort of branding, and I think that's quite good. You can be bringing that in a way. Look, what we're trying to do is we're trying to make my way of saying it is choose easy, right?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna choose easy. I've got one way which is really quite hard and technical. Another way. Now I don't really know which one is going to be best, but I know which is going to be easiest. Unless I've got a compelling reason to do the one that's a bit harder, and that would mean I'd have to enjoy it more. It might be technically harder, but I have to enjoy it more. It'd have to be an obvious better return of investment of my time, all that sort of stuff. I'm just going to choose easy. For me, choosing easy means make it all about the teaching. Make make the reach all about actually teaching, giving great value, because for me the easiest thing in the world is stand in front of a camera and just talk about anything. Zero preparation, zero time. I can use screen share and just talk about a diagram if I want to, or I could just talk. For me, that's zero. It's really, now that won't be the same for everybody, but I guarantee there'll be vanishingly few people in the world whose easiest thing to do and most enjoyable thing to do is to optimize how to get the most out of like Facebook ads and placements and all that sort of stuff.
Exactly.
That's and what happens is you said it about, let's get people spending the majority of their time doing the thing that they're the best at. Now, yeah, let's get them doing the teaching about their particular thing, and the more they teach, the more they will create the things that long term are going to be valuable. Let's say you get incredibly good at Facebook advertising, like I got really good at it about 3 years ago. What value really is that to anybody, really? Whereas if I'd spent as many hours getting really good at Facebook advertising as I did on perhaps developing a new program or writing a book or just getting better at communicating some ideas, thinking about some more metaphors or some analogies, that would be valuable to me right now, and wouldn't matter whether Facebook changed their algorithm or changed their system. You know,
right.
Let's not get good at things which, okay, put it like this. If you're going to devote time to getting good at something, make it something that you can get better and better and better at your whole life.
Yeah, exactly. I love that.
Which is what you've just written, the unique brilliance. Get better at being brilliant, get better at being uniquely you, get better at being more aware, get better at noticing the script, get better at putting the good stuff into the sausage machine, get better at telling your story, get better at stuff that you can spend every single day the rest of your life getting a little bit better at, and you never lose. Yeah, there you go. It's all right. This is recorded, so you can watch it again later if you like.
In there. Sometimes people, when they see the words too, they're like, "Oh, this is cool. I like this."
Oh, definitely, yeah.
No, it's all good. Just because I can't type that fast, it's all good.
Brilliant. Okay.
And you know what? And something along this line, then we'll keep going here. Is you know, I've done a total of 4 videos my whole entire life. And so if you're scared, or not scared isn't a good word for this, but if you're a little bit timid of the camera, it's okay. You know what? It's okay. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just go for it. And I have to tell you right now, I'm completely stoked about using the video, and I don't know why it took me this long to get to that point. But now I'm like, oh, this is so easy. Why wasn't I doing this? And people need to be able to connect with you that way. And it doesn't matter what you look like. It doesn't matter if your voice sounds funny or you have little quirks or whatever. The right client is going to be attracted to that. So that all goes back to that client attraction too. So cool.
I mean, just wrapping up this bit about the video, because you brought something up really useful. A lot of people make the huge mistake, and I was talking to Andrew about this yesterday, made the huge mistake of trying to say the right things and trying to get everything perfect, and they they make sure the light, I mean the lighting's got to be good enough. I mean my lighting's a little bit low at the moment, so I wouldn't, but this is because it's the middle of the day and there's lots of natural light. But
mine too. That's because I'm in Seattle.
but yes, it's great, isn't it? But the audio is the most important thing, and the actual energy with which you're speaking, rather than the way you say your words. And if people say arms and
I do.
no, that's fine. As long yeah, exactly, all of us do. I do. As long as the energy is right. And I've seen people who are brilliant people deliver shocking videos. Shocking. They sound like they're dead because they've probably recorded it 10 times to make sure that they're word perfect, and they're just staring at the camera with this kind of robotic, you know, and I'm looking at these people and saying, I wouldn't even ask you for the time, let alone any advice or sort of ideas about how you can help my life, because, you know, I know these people, and there's a friend of mine, definitely not going to mention his name, but he's a great guy, and he's got a ton of energy when you're actually, and he's smart when you're one-to-one with him, or when he's delivering a speech to a room, he's really good, but on video, he looks like, you know, you always want to shoot yourself in the face when you're watching it, it's that boring. And you think, because he's focused on exactly the wrong things. All he's done, and people do this, that energy is more important than accuracy. That's the big thing. Come across with passion, enthusiasm, authentically you. You can't get yourself wrong. If you're really thinking, if you're thinking through the script, you will then start, oh, you know, you start umming and erring, and you know, and not sure whether it's. If you're talking to your mother or your best friend or someone in a pub, and you're doing in that kind of same style to the camera, as if you're talking to just one other person, then you don't get that wrong.
Yeah, yeah. Focus on them. Don't focus on you. That's what I say. That's my little success tip, you know?
Lovely. And that's the next one, speaking made easy.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I just switched that just now because I had client attraction, then I had list building, and I'm like, well, you know what? That really is one of the same. So yeah, I'll figure out different wording for that, and because I was doing list building through speaking, and so now I'm like, yeah, you know what? Let's switch this around to speaking made easy, and I say via your signature talk, which goes back to the similar style of the signature system. Like, what is your signature talk? What do you want to be known for? What are the steps you're going to take people through during your talk? Not giving them all the information, but maybe honing in on one step and saying, okay, there's all these other steps that go with it, but let me give you something really good you can walk away with and use today. And or give them all the steps and a little bit of each. But my big thing with signature talks are get really well known for whatever that signature talk is, and it all goes hand in hand what we're talking about here, and it doesn't matter that you're giving out the same talk. People will hear it, they'll hear it again, they'll hear it in a different way. You can shorten it, make it longer. You can have people just ask you questions about your signature talk. It's a very easy way to go about doing it. Setting up your speaker sheet, very, very easy. And it's easy for the interviewer. It's easy for you. And guess what?
What?
You're concentrating on your unique brilliance. Your keywords, everything all falls in alignment with this. It all falls in alignment with what you do and what you're teaching. Instead of being out there scattered all over the place while you're speaking. You know, doesn't mean that I don't go to speaking events and speak about different things that isn't on my signature talk. No, it doesn't mean that. It just means here's something for you to get started, get out there, get really well known, and people are going to pick up on it, and they'll love you for it.
Yeah, completely right. It's like they tell you it's a terrible idea for ladies to be seen wearing the same clothes, you know, in the same season kind of thing. You know, you grow up and women got to always look different. If there's a few weddings and it's, oh, I can't wear the same dress, I wore that to the last one. No, the best way to get noticed is always wear the same clothes all the time.
Always wear the same perfume. If somebody smelled me, they would turn around and go, is Deb there?
Exactly. So if you, I know it sounds ridiculous, but if you want to be consistency, always be wearing, you know, the pink top, you know, and you'll get noticed. Always be saying the same thing. Always be, because you know what, people will go, oh yeah, I get it, but they don't, because each time they change, they see things differently. I do this. I tell people about the script, the sausage machine. What would you choose? Choose easy. I tell them my story, and I tell them the same things over and over again. And you'd think, A, I don't get bored by it, but and it's really easy. It's really easy because each time I'm talking to people, they're different. So I'll be saying the same thing, but in a way that's respectful to them. And what's another thing on this one, actually, really, via signature talk, if you basically have the same thing, but you never plan exactly how to say it, you keep fresh. You know what you're going to say, but you never script it. And then you go with the energy of the room, and you might focus on you might bring out a bit more as it's downloaded to you, that's right to focus more on. And I think that's a totally brilliant way of doing it. You know,
download. I love it. Yeah, definitely. I love that.
Well, I learned this again from my mentor, Richard Wilkins. He says, look, I never plan what to say in advance, because if I already plan what to say, I'm disrespecting you as an audience. I don't know what you're going to be like. Of course, I'm only ever going to tell you my story and how it might relate to how you can get something in your life that you want, and or you can get a bit more of what you want and a bit less of what you don't want. But I'm going to go with the energy of the room. But the point is, that is his signature talk. His signature talk is to rock up there and say, hey, I really have no idea what's going to come out today. It's going to be my story. And my one of my signature talks is, like, I do this. Is a lot of fun. You go up on stage and you say, hey guys, I hope you don't mind if I just record this. I'm going to leave my phone over there because I'm always interested to find out what I said. So I have no idea what I'm going to say. And they say, well, what do you mean? Well, of course, I could talk about myself and about my story, non-stop for 6 weeks without breathing. But I'm going to have an idea of what I think might be useful, but I'm going to go with the energy in the room. I'm going to tell from what you want. And sometimes I even say, okay, here's a bunch of things that I can talk about. Just pick one. And I did an MBA program once, and I thought, I'm just going to do this. And it was at Texas. It was in Austin, Texas University, and MBA students, and they're all kind of fancy students. What can this English guy teach me about anything? And I said, hey, well, this is what we're going to do. I'm just going to put up a few ideas up there, and you get to choose one each, and we'll see where we get to. And it was kind of like, it's really nice because I didn't really know what they would want, and they felt like they had directed the talk, which is really nice. But that itself is a signature talk. That's a totally different way of rocking up. It's like, hey, choose whatever you like. I've got opinions on pretty much everything. And we just see where we go.
It's just, people that are just getting started may not be as savvy to be able to pull from here, here, and here, and to be on the spot. And it really is that connection of getting known for something. You may have a couple signature talks, but I love how you said, well, take what you're saying and how you show up and how you deliver it may be a little bit different for each audience. And I love that. I love that. And the person interviewing you, too. You're going to show up different for each interview style, and that is that divine download of going with the flow and really connecting with that energy of what's happening right then. I love it. I love it. Cool.
Well, last thing on this topic, because I'm fascinated by this, is that also not only did my mentor Richard Wilkins come up with this idea that I've been using for years, but But Buckminster Fuller, the guy that I really respect, the guy who built all that stuff and the domes and all this crazy stuff, he used to do almost exactly the same thing. He used to basically never plan what to say. He would just call it a thinking out loud session, and he would just go with whatever came up. But interestingly, when you listen to him, he was kind of always saying the same sorts of things.
Mm-hmm. Just like you.
Kind of, like me. And so, but it was like thinking out loud, and that's how I came up with the idea of living out loud. This idea. We're kind of, this whole Team 10K project, we're building the plane as we fly it. We're living out loud, and it's all. I think for people, they identify with. It's not that I've got exactly the system that is exactly perfect, start to finish, every tiny thing. No, I've got something that I've done and that works really well, and we're learning. Everyone's going to contribute to this, and then I think you're going to learn way more from being part of an evolving system than if you were just saying, oh, no, Tom, how do I do this exactly? So, well, listen, there's a few ways to do it. Let's explore. Let's see what works. And I think if you're coming from that...
You don't have to have all your ducks in a row to make it action.
And that's the biggest thing. The biggest thing with people starting off, isn't it? They feel like they're not ready to start because they need to.
And then it's a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Oh, I haven't made any money. You know, and that's another point is, you know, I talk about money a lot, and I talk about wealth a lot, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with making really good money, and but going back to the concept of helping people and getting your word out there in a way that they can connect with you, and you don't have to be perfect. You can evolve, and you don't have to have all your ducks in a row. And this is a perfect example. I love that. Yeah, because that's the number one thing that holds people back. I want to get them into action now.
And if you have it as a principle, a principle that I live by is, look, start before you're ready, because if you're waiting until you're ready, A, you'll never get there, and B, it takes longer. So if your principle is start before you're ready, well, you can start now, because now is certainly before you're ready.
Yeah, I like it. I like it. I like it. So then, shall we move on, or you could talk about this subject all day long, couldn't you?
We could, but let's move on.
I love it. So number 10 is connect and serve selling. I go about connecting with my clients a little bit differently. I don't go about getting a client. I am very unattached to whether a client signs up with me today or tomorrow or the next day. To me, no means no right now. Just no for today. And I want to continually help them in some way. It may not be me personally talking to them, but they're gonna see Google Hangout videos. They're gonna connect to you know, my newsletter and my articles and the good information, or you know, the kits that we give away, whatever. And at some point, guess what? They're going to be coming back and saying, okay, now I'm ready. So the Connect and Serve selling module is really a simplistic way to have a conversation, to go from where you are right now to where you want to be, and to, again, going back to that painting the possibility for them to step up with you. And it's a beautiful way to have clients step into your world at whatever level. I was going to say at whatever level they're ready for. They may never be ready to step up, and that's where you have to hold that empowered space for them to come up to you, versus being in this needy, greedy mode of, I got to get a client. How come they didn't sign up today? And that's what this is all about.
And that's what happens. That's like wearing a perfume called desperation, isn't it? It's an unattractive perfume. You're always focusing on, oh, you know, and I need to get this and I need to do that. No, what happens is the universe will support you if you're doing things in the right way and you're delivering value in the right way. And you know, quite often they're ready. They'll come to you when they're ready to reach out to you. They won't come to you when they're ready to start. But the fact that they've reached out to you means that they are ready. They're ready for the relationship to go to that more intimate level. And I think just staying in touch with them and being awesome about it. This is something I talked about in the eating program, and what I love is the idea of the app. The ultimate app experience is going to be
huge.
Well, it's going to be insane. It's going to be, but what I want it to be like is, I want it to be the same as when you come home from work and you see your dog and your dog wags its tail, whatever happened to it during the day, whether you kicked it in the head because it was annoying you in the morning before you went to work, whether you've been out 5 minutes or you've been away for 3 weeks, it loves you unconditionally. Man's best friend, call it that for a reason, because it doesn't judge, it doesn't do anything, just loves you. And it's the opposite end from, like, say, the traffic warden or the sergeant major drill instructor, who's basically just hammering you and slamming you and being really brutal. So you've got a scale between those two, and what you want to be with your coaches, or what you want your coaches to be, is that just be on the dog end of the scale. You just want to, whenever they're ready, whatever, totally unconditionally, you'll always love them, you'll be delighted to see them. You won't be saying, hey, well, you could have come earlier, would have saved you a lot of money, would have saved you a lot of time. So no, the dog, you know, it's almost like if you could constantly wipe your memory so that you were just like a dog always, oh, this is my master, I love it, I love him, I love her. That
Yeah,
dog.
I'm gonna call that I'm gonna call that now from now on the Kona factor, because my chocolate lab is Kona. It's his birthday today, and that's exactly how he is. He's just happy, excited, passionate about life, and you know, he
That's
just
what
wants to
you
play.
want.
I just want to play. You
That's
know?
right. And then,
Yeah.
then that's what does that do? That immediately gets you in the zone for more of it. And so you want to have that every time you send an email to somebody, you want them to get that kind of the Kona factor. You want them to get that feeling, oh yeah, oh, this is great. You know, that's why whenever I'm promoting anything, it's always like, this will never run out. You can come whenever you like. You can pay what you want for my pay what you want program. You pay what you want for as long as you want, whenever. We're never going to run out of places, and that makes people think, oh, you know, rather than coming from the scarcity mentality. But it's a different sort of thing, you know. And I get people that they end up. It's quite interesting actually, because then they will fall foul of someone else's high pressure marketing techniques, and they'll spend like $500 on a program, and what happens? They do zero of it.
Yeah, and 500 is cheap, so
exactly.
Yeah, they're probably paying thousands.
Yeah. Exactly. And they don't do anything, and they feel bad, and they know, and they come back to me later on, and they say, you know what? And then what happens is some of them don't come back because they think their script is telling them that, you know, oh, I'm going to be sort of going, I told you so kind of thing. Or they just don't want to feel foolish because they know that it would have been much better to be authentically rather than trying to chase the latest shiny new thing.
Yeah, and they're doing it because they feel they should, because everybody else is doing it, versus what they're passionate about and what they really want to do and what will really work. I mean, it really comes down to that. Oh, I should do this.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Yeah. So okay, I love it. Totally on track. 2 high fives there.
Yeah.
Love it, love it, love it. And then 11 is leveraged business model. You know, we are getting into the nitty gritty on this part of it, but I love it so much because it's so simple, and guess what? It works. Yeah. This is a little bit different. What I want to explain here is that it's this isn't how I want your business model to be all the time. This is if you're not making any money, you're just getting started, you're creating a niche, and you need to leverage. And I want to say you're leveraging your money and not your time, but you are leveraging your time as well, just not in the way that you will after a year or two in business, where you're leveraging your time and you're getting passive income and income coming in different directions. Yeah. This is, you know, you got to make some money. You got to get some money coming in. So guess what? It frees up your time so you can start doing what you really love. You can start living your life the way that you want to and build your business the way you want to. So in the basics of this model, and there's more to it, there is a few steps, there's like 4 steps, but in the basics, it is having a client, taking a client, and it only takes one, right? You don't need a huge list. We're going to be building your list as we're working on this, but I want to get you to, I want to have you start helping people right away. You know, and the only way that you can help more people, Tom, fill in the gaps here, how am I going to help more people?
You got to reach more people.
Got to reach more people, and how am I going to continually do that if I'm not making any money?
You've got to do it in a regenerative way. You've got to start giving the value and getting people to pay for it right away.
Yeah, so you can keep going, right? And so you can keep building your business and getting your message out to thousands. And for thousands, it may be you helping 10 high-end people and they're out there helping thousands, or you really are truly helping thousands. I don't know. It all depends on you, and that's the cool thing about this too. It's based on your desire.
Yeah. What you've done here is that you've got all these different components of the whole business model, and people will gravitate towards what they enjoy most and they feel more comfortable with, and they get a better return from. And I think it's the idea of, well, let's have a few of these different options so that you can cater for people. And like some people, like the VIP days are great, when just going out and doing lots of talks and getting in front of people and just saying, okay, well, I'm going to run a workshop, so anyone who likes this, can sign up for a workshop, do your seminars, and you obviously do kind of more of this than I do. I kind of try to. I'm at the stage where I am trying to go global, because that's kind of a faster way.
And that's at a different level, which is where I'm going as well. But I believe that you got to start here before you go there, because people will always say, "Well, gosh, I want to do a big group program, but I don't have any people." Well, I'm like, "Well, start with one," and then they get all hung up and they're not making any money, and then years go by and then they're back to their job that they can't stand. The vicious cycle. So I actually have the solution for that, and it doesn't mean that you work this way all the time. It means, work that way for a year or two or forever if that suits you, because you literally can make, whatever I say, make whatever your magic number is for you, because it's always increasing. And that's why I always say take your unique brilliance to the next level of wealth. Well, for some, 50,000 may be a big difference in their lives, and then they'll be ready to go to 6 figures, and then they'll be ready to go for millions. To me, the money that I make represents the people that I'm helping, that I'm reaching more, and all it is an energetic exchange for what I'm putting out there in the world. So I'm ready to be crazy, crazy wealthy, but it's because of what I'm doing for people. It's not because of the money per se. So you can take whatever you want to from that, but
that's really good.
I believe it's really cool. I like working like that. Yeah.
I think what's nice about that as well is you're saying, okay, rubber meets the road time. We don't just sit and wait and, all these things. Because all these things that we're doing that are longer term strategies, well, that's the thing, you don't really grow an oak tree in 6 months or 3 months. It takes a few years, but an oak tree then lasts, it'll outlive you, so you can plant a garden. That's right. So that's the kind of the idea.
The cool thing about this is that you only need one person and you can make money today, and you can help that person today. You can create massive transformation today in one person's life. And guess what? All of that action, to me, helping a client, being connected to a client, and that exchange of you helping them and them giving you money, all of a sudden what happens to me as a coach, especially if I'm new to a niche or brand new to business, all of a sudden my confidence just goes up. I'm like, I do have something good. Because I can't tell you how many people have been in business for years and still aren't making what they should be making, and they're not helping who they should be making. And bottom line, that's what it comes to. They're not helping enough people. So. Well,
you're actually doing people a disservice if you decide not to follow your steps and not to actually systematize your business, because you won't be able to give as much value, net value. If you decide to stay small and decide to stay poor and do things degeneratively, you'll get fed up after a few years and go back to your job. Or you'll carry on pottering. Now, you'll always feel like you could have done so much more. Now, if you decide that $30,000 a year is absolutely perfect for you because you only want to work 3 days a month or whatever, that's totally different.
It's all good.
but the point is that if you it's only when your reality is different from what your vision is that you need to look at doing things a little bit differently. And I'm betting all these people that you've met, I run in. Well, I don't so much anymore, but I used to run into a lot of life coaches who, I don't know really what I could learn from you. I really don't. I don't know what the average person could learn from you, because you look into their eyes and they've got nothing that other people want. And the reason is because they don't give the impression of increase. They don't look. It's not like, and they're kind of, they're only making, say, $30,000 a year, and they're working probably quite a lot of hours for that. And you
hard. They're working so hard. And they don't love what they do anymore. They started out with a passion in their heart. Yeah. They can't stand it now. Years have gone by, and they're struggling. Why? We don't need to work that way. No.
Well, a lot of people just don't understand that you're right. They just don't understand that just because we've grown up believing a certain model that that you can't really get what you want. That's sort of Hollywood stuff, and life is hard and it's a struggle and all that sort of stuff. Yeah. Well, No, not at all. Life isn't a struggle for the orchids. It's not a struggle for the oak trees. They, they grow and they make, hundreds of thousands of acorns all the time. And guess what? A tree supports billions of insects.
Yeah.
So
Yay.
when you grow to your potential, you will support many other lives, and I think that's really exciting. So that was leveraging the business model, and then
that was leveraging the business, the expanded version. But yeah, it's very simple, and it isn't meant to work in that capacity for years and years and years unless you decide that very simplistic model works for you. But what I do is, in the next program, is I actually take people into a much more time leveraged model where we're attracting people to us and they're signing up with us and working with us in a capacity that doesn't always take us to be on all the time. But I do that here too because of how I group the one-on-ones. It's not like people are all over every single week. Tom, I know you work all hours of the day all over the place, but I know you also have a lot of fun. So I teach this in a way that you meet with your one-on-ones all connected like to 1 day or 2 days versus all over the place and not every single week. It's not the normal model. So I think you guys are going to love that. I really do. And I have to tell you, Tom told me the oak tree story, I think 2 years ago, Tom.
Yeah.
And I've never forgotten that. That always sticks in my brain. And it goes back to, again, connecting with some of the things that we know that people start to get and understand, and they hear it again. I just heard it again, and I was like, oh, yeah, forgot about that. That's so cool. Yeah, I like that. I like that analogy.
Thanks very much.
So number 12 is wealth consistency tips. And the biggest challenge that a lot of people say to me, or the biggest excuse, sorry, I call it like I see it, is time. And I really have found that you can do certain things with just the power of two. And
like that.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I like that. The power of 2 hours. I think that's good.
Power of two, so 1 hour outreach a day and 1 hour working towards your profit project, and whatever that may be. And along with this, I have some fun exercises that, increasing your money speedometer. And again, I talk a lot about money, but I'm not just talking about the green stuff, you guys. It's not like that. I don't want to come across like that. It is a matter of stretching yourself into a different place, and the money speedometer does that through consistency of, getting that back out every quarter. And that's why it fits in with this perfectly. Getting that back out every quarter and going, okay, have I stretched myself? Have I stretched myself, and in what way? And just reminding yourself with the belief mantras of not just going, oh, I want to make more money. I'm not talking about that. And I'm saying, hey, look, let's put ourselves in this place of really where we want to be and how we want to work, and be very, very grateful for every bill, every amount of money that you pay out, whether it's for your assistants or people on your team. Just be incredibly grateful for that. And that's what the money belief mantra does. And the wealth tracking sheet allows for you, it's not, okay, I made this money today and this money comes out. It's more of a attraction and an abundance thing. So you can go, okay, I found a quarter in the street. Awesome. It's like all this abundance that comes into your life that we negate, we forget about. And I want you to remember it. And here's the thing. If you got a bunch of zeros on there, I want to know what that is evoking within inside you. What's that bringing out? What are you feeling? And, it's easier to fix 1 day than it is a year worth of zeros. So there's a reason why that's popping up, and paying attention to how you feel. And, to me, it's not a way of feeling bad. It's a means of going, wow, so how can I make the last half an hour of my day really good and change this? How can I make tomorrow better than today? And that's what that's all about.
That's really nice. I think you've hit it on the head there with the kind of the money belief, because what will happen is if people don't really think money is awesome, if when you say, and this is something I do with people, I say, yeah, okay, when I say the word money, how do you feel? What's your immediate feeling? Now for you, it'll be awesome. I can do shit with money, right?
Yeah.
For 99% of the population, it'll be. It just puts them. You just say the word money, and it puts them into a kind of. Now, money's got amazing power, as we talked about. It's just a marker for. It's just a store of value that you've given in the past. If you've got money, that's all it is. And if you want to find out how valuable you've been to the universe, according to society and what society thinks is valuable, just look at how much money you've kind of used, not got, because saving up money is not really, I think, it's a little bit different from a lot of people. You see, I think we're saving money is a little bit like gearing people towards the scarcity mentality. I think money should be, I mean, of course, have some money just saved up, your rainy day money and stuff like that, but I think the paradigm where you've just got to save and have enough money for retirement is completely terrible. What we should be doing is we should be using our money all the time when we can use our physical resources ourselves. Money's part of that, and by the time we decide to stop working, all that use of the money and all that use of our time, so our resources times the money that we've had available, has been ploughed into creating a life support for us according to the lifestyle that we want for an infinite number of forward days. In other words, we've created these money machines. But so many people kind of just saving up from fear and they want to have a nest egg put away, because when they stop giving value, they want to be able to live on the value they created previously. What about setting systems up that never stop giving value to people?
Oh, I love it. I love it. And Tom knows this, and I'll share this with all of you just in a quickie nutshell. Yeah. I mean, I come from making a lot of money and losing it all. Like within a matter of 6 months, my husband and I lost everything. And I'm talking to the point of talking to the point of having, our $35,000 SUV taken away, and it was paid in full, and it was and they said, hey, we'll give you $2,000 for it. I'm like, score, I got $2,000 to live off of. So we went from having everything to nothing. And here's the thing, there's a lot of people in this world right now that are very much still recovering from the recession and everything, and they're thinking along the lines of that lack mentality of, I got to have enough for retirement. And so, Tom, if we can get that message up to people to start thinking in a different way, that regenerative way of what can we do now to start creating this world that we live in now. So when we do get to that point, everything is okay. It's all okay. There doesn't need to be that fear and that lack. So that's beautiful. I love it.
But it's a genuinely better thing to do as well, when you have created more value for more people, if you used your money to give value and accumulated systems rather than accumulated money itself. So if you accumulate systems that continue to give value to people, you've actually done a much better job, rather than the other way of doing it is don't do anything, save all your money, and actually what you're doing when you save money really is you're allowing banks to lend it out. So you're helping the banks, but you're saving your money, and over, say, 30 or 40 years of your working life, then you're hoping to live off the money you've saved. Well, actually, in both those contexts, the saving of it and the living off it, you're actually not creating as much value as in the other context. So for me, it's a lot more fun. But it's a little bit riskier, because you've always got that possibility of, well, yeah, what if it doesn't work? But you know what? If you carry on trying, month after month, year after year, you'll get there. It might be 5 years for some people, it might be 10 years for others. It might be, who knows? For some people, it might be 20 years. But if they've been doing something that they really wanted to do and loving it and carry on doing it, who cares if it takes 20 years to then have it all set up, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Anyway.
So let me ask you this.
Yes.
It's fun. The center, what everything thrives off of, right?
Yep.
13. there's a module for that as well, or is it just what everything else revolves around?
It's always the focus is every 13 weeks you're kind of reviewing the holistic view, but
Okay.
you can call it something if you want it. You might call it. I mean, I tend to call that awareness. It's the awareness. It's how did I do? It's looking back, and this is what's really interesting: is looking back at what is the residual everyday characteristics that I have now as a result of having been through the previous 13-week cycle or the 12-week cycle. And it's almost like you look back, okay, how am I at module 1, module 2 and module 3? And that sort of self-awareness is great, because then that's what's so forgiving. That's why it is like the dog, because well, guess what, we get to do it again. We get to go through, and we're just moving from one end of the scale to the next a little bit, and just if they move just a little bit towards the end of the scale they want to go to in each of these characteristics, then so giving it a name, not necessarily, but you could give it the whole. It could be what I do for the eating program is, of course, it's like eat more, because eating needs to be more important, more mindful, more those sorts of things. But it's kind of catchy, so it might be simply that might be the keep it simple, or you know.
How about be you and thrive?
Sorry, missed that.
Be you and thrive.
Lovely. So
because everything's based around your unique brilliance and doing what you love. So
the point is, it will be the focus of that week is to look at all these components and to see how they're developing holistically. And be you and thrive is exactly right. But it doesn't matter. You could call it just, if you wanted to, you could call it a progress check. Just be you and thrive is sexier. And it is the central one.
Come on.
Yeah, exactly. I love naming things.
With it. Come on.
Yeah.
I'm talking to women here too, by the way.
Yeah.
And the guys can join in. I'll let the guys join in.
Yeah, correct. So there's one thing that I'm going to tell you about that we'll be moving on to next week. You see, each of those section headings.
Yes.
Would be nice to be able to say that in a way, or have the title, and then have also a kind of a tagline for it as well that supports the search.
Perfect.
So then you've got, I don't know whether you saw one of the videos where I talked about my Udemy course for the career, 7 essential secrets for getting your, or I can't remember what it's called, 7 essential steps to getting your dream career. That one ranks on page 2 of full Google search for the science of getting rich made simple, because one of the lecture headings is that search.
I love that.
So that's what you're doing is, if you've got your say it's client attraction is your focus, then it would be how to get more clients, keep more clients, whatever. Those make the kind of the explanation tagline of each lecture, of each week's focus, be a bang for the money search term.
Okay, I love it. So my tagline is a bang on keyword search term that that
matches obviously the we gotta be a little bit careful.
The title, obviously.
Yeah, obviously. Okay.
It.
So the final thing we need to do is then just schedule a time when we're going to nut out. We'll do an hour and we'll nut out 4 or 5 short Google Hangouts where we'll probably just start going through. I'll do an overview when I say, hey Deborah, tell us about this, what's it about, and then let's get the diaries out. Have you got your diary in front of you?
Yeah. Give me 1 second here. I can pull it up real quick. So do you want me to do any, or are we just going to do them together? Either way is good.
No, we'll do one session where we do them together, but you can start now. You don't need to wait for me.
Okay.
You can go off and you can just try and keep them pretty short and focused, and think kind of what's the maximum value I can give on this that keeps it to a sort of, certainly no more than a song length. You don't want to make them any more than 5 minutes, but really, realistically, 2 to 3 minutes with a key, valuable, almost like an actionable statement or an actionable thing that they can do with a particular aspect of it. Yeah, start them. You've seen the things that I've been doing. You can do it as, you can do it as a screen share. You can do it as a face to the camera. You can't get it wrong. but the sooner you start, of course, the sooner the search engines start returning you. So, but if we section off 1 hour, we'll do a 4 or 5 then. But you can have done a few already, and then we'll just
Yeah, and so do I just follow my steps, like 1, and then I do a video about that, and then go on to 2 and 3 and 4 and do some videos?
I mean, I would have thought the easiest way to do it is to think, well, I'm probably going to want 2 or 3 little videos about the overview of the whole thing.
The
and
overview.
Yeah,
Okay.
you know, something like whatever your search term is, you know, Debra talking about how well it works or why it works so well or something like that. Just so you might have a couple, 2 or 3 minutes in why this works. This works really well because it takes the pressure off. You might talk about, you know, making it easy for people. You might talk about something that is like choosing easy, and you know, everyone gets overwhelmed. Kind of the principles of why this works. A little bit about you and what you've done over the last few years and why you've come up with this. And maybe then, so you've probably got 4 or 5 of those videos. Then you'll probably have 1 for each of the 13 components. And so you'll be talking about 20 in total for a particular kind of search term. And then what you'll be doing is you'll be realizing after that you might repeat the same thing for a slightly different search term if you're already number 1 for the one that you want already, or you might just carry on doing a little bit more depth stuff. What I did on my eating program is I did 1 for the overview, and I did a couple of general principles, as I was saying, kind of a background like the dogmas really of reasonability, you know, what the idea of marginal gains, the idea of focusing on one thing at a time. And then I did an overview for each domain. So I've done why when to eat is important and why how to eat is important and so on. And then I'm going through and doing just a little one, and they're all about, you know, 2 or 3 minutes long. And I'm just trying to give them the nuts and bolts of it. So like, you know, if I'm talking about eating for hunger and not appetite, I'm just trying to get them to walk away with that one question: am I hungry enough to eat a stick of celery? You know, cool. That sort of thing. So I don't know whether you could do something talking about the domains and why you've structured the program like that and that sort of stuff as well.
Cool. Yeah. And then and I'm posting that in my Google Hangout, I'm assuming, or what do I do with that?
Yeah, you don't post it. You don't need to do anything. You know how to start a Hangout, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah. You don't invite anybody to it.
Okay.
You can do it audio only, screen capture only, or you can do it like normal, just as if you were talking to the camera, just like we're doing now.
Cool.
When you're finished, you obviously stop the broadcast and end the call, and then it'll appear. You don't have to do anything. So the beautiful thing about that is you don't have to edit it, you don't have to record it, you don't have to archive it, you don't have to send links to anything. It just does it. All you need to do is repeat the search and then see what happens, and start watching. One thing would be really nice for you to do is do a day zero search. So actually do a search for your term and just do for yourself, just make a note of what the search results are. I've done those as Hangouts as well because I kind of wanted people to see what I was doing. But for you, for what you're doing, you don't have to do that because you don't need your account that's talking about all this to also be showing them exactly what you did. You don't need that. It doesn't matter, but you don't need it. But it's not useful for you to write down, okay, maybe you could do a screenshot of the search results, day 0, day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, and just start seeing. And it's quite interesting because it won't always be up. It's always up on average, but you know there's quite a lot of jiggery-pokery in which sometimes one of mine shoots up way ahead of the others, and it'll usually because a couple of people have commented on it and stuff like that. Now, if you do post it to your Google Plus page, people will see what you're doing, and you'll create a bit more of an impact, and you get the community.
I don't mind them seeing everything that I'm doing behind the scenes. I think it's good. I think it gives them something to connect with and something to see. When I see you doing something, it's because I don't have time to go through all the videos and listen to everything. So what I do is I see what you're doing, and I'm like, okay, let's rock it. I'll do the same thing Tom's doing. So
and also, because you're coaching coaches, it's part of the training, so it makes sense to do that. And then if you can post it on your Google Plus, then you'll get or wherever, you know, whatever your social network is, whatever. Then of course, the more people that, you know, in terms of the SEO type stuff, the more people that do actually plus it and like kind of comment on it, then the better, of course. And the more people that watch it, the better. But we're not really doing it for that purpose. We're just doing it for the main things, which is the title.
Okay, and just to be clear, because you know me, you know, I'm not the techie savvy girl, even though I'm probably better at it than I think that I am. But just to make sure, I'm putting the title on there and the tagline for these videos that I'm doing, or the title or the tagline and what I'm talking about. Help me out there.
You want to have the major search term that you want. Let's say you're doing a campaign in your head. The major search term that you want, which might be just your tagline. It might be that, but you don't need the stuff that they're not going to search for. You don't need that. But what I tend to do is I tend to put that in a little bit as well, but the other way around. So the first part I kind of swap it around. So I'll put the search bit of it first, and then I'll say Simply Empowered with Debra Larson, or Simply Empowered talking about, and then it will be like an overview of the course or something. And that's, you haven't got unlimited title length, but you've got a reasonable amount of space there. So just play around with it. The most important thing you need to do is have your major search term in the title.
Got it.
If you do that right, everything else will work. If you get that wrong, but it needs to be the same, because what happens is Google's doing it, saying, oh, right, she's done a bunch of videos with this same title. She's obviously a brand. This has obviously got credibility, continuity, all that sort of stuff.
I like it. Cool. So, hey, Tom, how does your schedule look for Tuesday or Thursday morning, my time, like anywhere between 8:30, 9, 10 o'clock? I know that's like dinner time for you, so...
Okay, I've got a call at... what time do you reckon? Sort of 9:30, something like that?
Like 9:30. Any time in the mornings are good for me on Tuesday.
Okay, so Tuesday the 12th, I can do I can do probably around about my 9. Your 9:30, I can probably do.
Does that work for you, or is that
What time did we start today? Was it 9 o'clock?
We start at 9, yeah.
Yeah. I've got a call at 9 o'clock, but that's not going to be that long. It's just an update with a company that's building out our own sort of hosting system for the future for stuff, which is going to be cool, actually. So I think that'll be no more than half an hour. So we could say 9:45. Give me a bit of margin.
9:45, perfect. And you know what? Just when you're ready, because I'll be working on some stuff anyhow. So when you're ready, just give me a call.
I'll just hit you up. Fantastic.
Google me or whatever it is.
Whatever we do, brilliant.
Whatever
and then
it is that we do here.
But by then we'll have a bunch of things all up and running. You'll have done a few videos, and it'll be good actually, because the people in the community are going to love start. You know, like Mark's already been out there doing a few, and
he's rocking it. I like it.
And if you search for recovery, how to stop drinking, or how to stop drinking alcoholism, he's right up there already. So
nice. I like it.
This stuff works really well. So just get out.
This is pumping me up, and you know, it all goes back into that simplicity. It's actually doable without having to know all this different stuff and feeding your brain through all this different stuff. You can focus on what you're good at and do it in this way. Yep. And people will know that. I love it.
And you're not just you're actually giving value through doing you're developing your uniqueness every time you do one of these, because you're getting to talk about it, and you're telling your story, and you're communicating with people. You're not just doing black arts SEO stuff, which is really laborious. And so it's like a double win, because it's good for you to be doing that anyway, because it's valuable. You're teaching people stuff that's valuable, and it also does brilliantly for SEO. So it's like a gift from the gods, really.
Gift from the gods. I love it. Oh, I love that. Yeah, or from the goddesses. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna bang a video out right now after I get off the phone or off the line with you, and well, within a half an hour or so. And do me a favor. I'm just gonna send you a quickie email and just check it. Just say, Deb, you're on track, or no, wait a minute, we got.
I'll see it. It'll come. It'll come on Google Plus. I'll see it anyway.
Oh, you will. Okay.
I'll see it anyway, and I'll watch it quickly. And you can always delete them later if you want to. You know,
it's all good. Yeah, I don't mind.
I think it's fun to be able to look back and see what you were like.
Yeah, no, it's all good. I don't worry about that stuff too much because again, it connects people. So, all right, my dear, thank you for your time, and this is fun. I love it.
It's exciting stuff, isn't it? All right.
All right. Yeah.
I'll look forward to the first video. Bye.
Okay, sounds good. Bye. Have a good night.